Imagine you're standing in a forest. It's quiet, the kind of quiet that feels wrong. And then, without a single sound, without a snapping twig or a rustling leaf, something that weighs over 1,000 pounds is standing 20 feet behind you. You didn't hear it coming. You didn't smell it. You didn't see it. And it has been watching you for the last 3 minutes. That's a bear. And you don't know them nearly as well as you think you do. Most people carry around a cartoon version of bears in their heads. Winnie the Pooh, Paddington, a dopey thing standing at a campsite trying to get into a cooler. But the animal that actually exists, the creature that has walked this earth for millions of years, that has survived ice ages and mass extinctions, that has outsmarted humans at every turn, is something else entirely. Something ancient, something impossibly capable, something that, the more you learn about it, the more it demands your respect. Let's start with something that sounds like science fiction. A bear can smell you from 20 miles away. Not 20 feet, not a mile, 20 miles. The olfactory system of a bear is, by scientific measurement, 7 times more powerful than a bloodhound and over 2,000 times more powerful than a human being. To put that in visceral terms, if you opened a single can of tuna fish in a city the size of Los Angeles, a bear on the outskirts could detect it. Their nasal passages are enormous, several times larger than a human's, and lined with hundreds of times more scent receptors. When a bear raises its nose and swings its head slowly from side to side, it isn't confused or lethargic. It is reading the air like a newspaper. It is pulling apart layers of information. What was here? Who was here? How long ago? Whether they were afraid, whether they were carrying food, whether they were alone. The world, to a bear, arrives primarily through scent. And the map that scent builds in their brain is staggeringly detailed. That nose, combined with a memory that researchers have described as borderline disturbing, makes bears arguably the most effective foragers on the planet. Here's what makes that memory so alarming. Bears remember, with precision, the exact location of food sources they visited years prior. Not a general area, not a valley or a hillside. The specific tree, the specific berry patch, the specific stream bend where the salmon run peaks in late September. Scientists studying grizzly bears in Yellowstone have tracked individuals returning to the same whitebark pine stands year after year, even after multi-year absences, navigating terrain that had been blanketed by snow when they last visited. The bear did not forget. The bear filed it away and retrieved it like pulling a document from a cabinet. And it isn't just locations. Bears remember individual people. They remember specific vehicles. They remember what worked and what didn't, which campsites had food, which rangers bluffed, which electric fences were live and which weren't. If you've ever heard someone say that a fed bear is a dead bear, this is why. Not because the bear becomes dangerous in some abstract way. Because once a bear connects your species with food, that association is essentially permanent. It will never unlearn it. The file doesn't close. Now let's talk about the body. Because what bears can do physically is almost beyond comprehension. A grizzly bear in its prime, a large male in peak condition before winter, can weigh over 700 pounds. Coastal brown bears in Alaska, fattened on salmon, regularly exceed 1,000 pounds. And yet this mass moves with an eerie fluid efficiency. Bears can sprint at 35 miles per hour. Usain Bolt's world record is just under 28. That means if a grizzly decided to close the gap between you, and you had a head start of 50 yards, it would catch you. There is no scenario where you outrun it. None. This is not hyperbole, it is physics. But the speed is almost secondary to the strength. A grizzly bear can lift a boulder weighing 700 pounds with one paw. It can drag an elk carcass, which itself can weigh 500 pounds, for miles uphill through dense forest. Its bite force, measured at over 1,200 pounds per square inch, is sufficient to crush a bowling ball. The skull of a bear is built like geological infrastructure, thick, reinforced, almost engineered for impact. And the claws, a grizzly's front claws can reach 4 inches in length. They are not designed for attack, primarily. They are designed for digging, for tearing, for moving earth. But what they do in the context of conflict is simply a byproduct of their staggering efficiency as tools. People often ask which bear is most dangerous, and the answer reveals how diverse this family really is. The polar bear stands apart from all others in one crucial way. It is the only bear species that actively, deliberately hunts humans as prey. Every other bear species involves in human encounters that are largely defensive. You surprised the bear, you approached the cubs, you smelled like food. The polar bear is different. It is a hypercarnivore. It has evolved in an environment with almost no plant matter available, which means its entire neurological orientation toward large mammals is, can I eat this? There are documented cases of polar bears stalking human settlements over days, waiting, watching, testing. They are patient, they are methodical, and they are the largest land predators on Earth, with adult males regularly hitting 1,500 pounds. When a polar bear decides something is prey, it approaches without hesitation. It does not bluff. The sun bear, on the other hand, weighing only around 130 pounds, sounds almost laughable by comparison. It is the smallest bear species, living in the tropical rainforests of Southeast Asia, and it may be the most terrifying bear you've never thought about. Sun bears have the longest tongue of any bear species, over 9 inches, designed to extract honey and insects from tight spaces. They are extraordinarily flexible and agile. They climb vertical trees with the ease of squirrels. But what makes them genuinely unsettling is their aggression. Sun bears are widely considered the most aggressive bear species per pound. They have an extraordinarily short fuse, and, unlike most bears that prefer to avoid conflict, sun bears will charge without provocation, without warning, without apparent reason. Locals in Borneo and Sumatra consider them far more dangerous than tigers. And because they can tear through dense forest faster than almost any animal their size, there are very few good options once one decides it doesn't like you. Then there is the sloth bear, another species almost no one outside of South Asia thinks about, which developed a completely unique hunting technique. It is the only bear species that specifically preys on insects as a primary food source, using its flexible, mobile lips and a gap in its front teeth like a biological vacuum. It can close its nostrils on command and suck termites through a hole it bores with its claws at rates audible from 200 meters away. But sloth bears also attack more humans than any other bear species in India. Not because they're predatory, they're not, but because they have terrible eyesight, move through dense vegetation unpredictably, and startle into violent defensive attacks with almost no warning. More disfiguring attacks on humans are attributed to sloth bears than to any other animal in the region. Most people also don't realize that bears are not obligate carnivores. In fact, depending on the species and season, the majority of most bears' diets is plant matter. A grizzly in the Rockies may eat 80 to 90% vegetation, grasses, roots, berries, tubers, with meat being supplementary. They are extraordinary opportunists. And this opportunism, this dietary flexibility, is one of the key reasons bears have survived every mass extinction event of the past several million years. When the megafauna collapsed, when prey disappeared, when glaciers swallowed the landscape, bears adapted. They ate what was available. They moved. They waited. The speed with which bears can shift their dietary strategy is almost unnerving. When salmon arrive in Alaskan rivers, a grizzly can eat 20,000 calories per day. 20,000. They gain up to 3 pounds per day during peak hyperphagia, the feeding frenzy before winter. And they are selective. They don't just eat any salmon. Early in the run, when they have time, they eat primarily the skin and brain of the fish, discarding the rest. This is not laziness. This is precision. The skin and brain contain the highest concentrations of fat, which is what the bear's body is optimizing for. When time grows short and the run is peaking, they eat the whole fish. They are running calculations in real time. That word, hyperphagia, is worth sitting with. It describes the period in late summer and early fall when a bear's brain essentially overrides its normal satiety systems and drives it to eat continuously, almost compulsively, in preparation for hibernation. During this period, bears can sleep as few as 2 to 3 hours a day. They are machines dedicated entirely to caloric acquisition. And then, at a cue we still don't fully understand, a drop in temperature, a shortening of days, perhaps something internal and hormonal that science hasn't fully mapped, it stops, and the bear goes to sleep. Hibernation, which bears call something closer to a winter dormancy, is one of the most extraordinary biological processes that has ever evolved. A bear's body temperature drops only a few degrees during hibernation, much less than true hibernators like ground squirrels, which essentially become cold-blooded. But what bears accomplish metabolically during those months is something researchers have been studying intensely because the implications for human medicine are profound. A bear in hibernation does not eat, does not drink, does not urinate, and does not defecate for up to 7 months. In any human, or most any mammal, this would cause catastrophic kidney failure within days. A bear's kidneys essentially recycle their waste, breaking down urea back into usable proteins. Their muscles, despite months of inactivity, do not atrophy. They do not develop the bone density loss that would cripple a human in the same situation. Their hearts slow to 8 beats per minute, but they can wake within seconds if threatened, returning to full alertness without the groggy transition period you'd expect. Scientists are studying these mechanisms with urgent interest in the context of treating kidney disease, muscle wasting in bedridden patients, and even long-duration spaceflight. But perhaps the most staggering hibernation fact involves pregnant female bears. A female who has mated in early summer, but whose embryo has not implanted, held in a state of biological suspension called delayed implantation, will give birth inside the den in the depths of winter. The cubs, weighing barely half a pound, are born essentially fetal, hairless, blind, incapable of thermoregulation, and yet the mother, asleep, unconscious, burning through the fat she accumulated in autumn, nurses them through the coldest months of the year. By the time she emerges in spring, those cubs have multiplied their birth weight many times over. She has fed them entirely on her own stored reserves. While asleep, it is, by any measure, one of the most extreme examples of maternal investment in the animal kingdom. Let's take a moment to talk about intelligence, because bears are routinely underestimated here in ways that would be funny if they weren't so consequential. Bears have been documented using tools, not in the loose, metaphorical sense of the word, but in a way that satisfies even stringent scientific criteria. A brown bear in Alaska was observed repeatedly using a barnacle-encrusted rock to scratch its face, picking it up, using it, setting it down. Bears at Yellowstone have been observed using sticks to reach food items outside their direct grasp. In captive environments, bears have solved multi-step puzzles designed for primates, have demonstrated the ability to count objects in tests, and have shown an understanding of cause and effect that places them at or above the cognitive level of the great apes in several specific domains. The problem-solving capabilities of wild bears, particularly when it comes to human food security systems, borders on legendary among wildlife managers. Bears have open car doors, not broken windows, not torn-off handles, but operated door mechanisms, after apparently observing humans do so. They have learned to open bear-resistant canisters, forcing designers to update the certification process by literally testing the canisters on bears before certifying them as bear-proof. There is no such thing as bear-proof, some rangers will tell you. There is only bear-resistant. Because a motivated bear with sufficient time and the right object that used to contain food is a relentless, creative, and ultimately effective engineer. One of the most chilling demonstrations of bear intelligence occurs in the context of human avoidance. Bears that live in areas with significant human activity learn, with remarkable precision, which behaviors generate conflict and which do not. They learn hunting seasons. They learn the schedules of rangers. They learn which trails are quiet on which days. A grizzly in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem, equipped with a GPS tracking collar, was found to have altered her movement patterns to avoid roads specifically during peak visitor hours, resuming normal ranging behavior after the traffic dropped. She had built a model of human predictability in her brain and was acting on it strategically. Consider, for a moment, what that implies. A wild animal, unprompted, with no training, is running probabilistic calculations about human behavior based on observed patterns. If you didn't know it was a bear, you might describe it as surveillance. The relationship between bears and humans stretches back to the beginning of our species story. Cave bears, Ursus spolius, shared Ice Age Europe with early humans, and the relationship was complex and significant enough to leave traces in the archaeological record. There is evidence that Neanderthals collected cave bear skulls, possibly as objects of ritual significance. Scratch bear bones found in ritual contexts suggest something beyond simple hunting, something approaching reverence. Native American cultures across North America developed sophisticated ceremonial relationships with bears, many of which persist today. The bear, in dozens of separate cultures across the planet, independently became a symbol of power, healing, and the wild self. There is a reason we keep coming back to the bear as a symbol. There is something in the encounter, in the meeting of eyes with something that is simultaneously familiar and completely other, that does something to the human mind. Because bears are, in some unsettling ways, too much like us. They stand upright. They walk bipedally over short distances, often to see over vegetation or to appear larger. A standing bear at full height, 7 feet of it, looking at you directly, is one of the most cognitively destabilizing experiences a human can have in the wild. The similarity is too close. The gait is too familiar. The face, with its relatively flat features and forward-facing eyes, is too recognizable. Early European hunters, when they skinned a bear, reportedly found the experience deeply disturbing because the body beneath looked too human. The paws of a bear are among the most anatomically sophisticated in the animal kingdom. The forepaw in particular, with its 5 individually mobile digits and opposable adjacent thumb structure, is disturbingly hand-like in its capabilities. Bears use these paws to peel bark from trees with delicate precision, to extract individual pine nuts from cones, to manipulate objects with a subtlety that their size doesn't prepare you for. Watch a bear disassemble a beehive. Watch the care, the deliberateness, the way it manages the stings it cannot avoid and the honey it extracts with systematic patience. It does not look like instinct. It looks like work, and the sounds they make. Most people imagine bears as largely silent animals, broken occasionally by roars. The reality is a complex, layered acoustic vocabulary. Mother bears communicate with cubs through a continuous series of huffs, moans, and low vocalizations. Cubs respond with sounds that range from humming, which they make while nursing, a sound so distinctly comforting and so close to a human hum that it is frankly uncomfortable to hear, to high-pitched distress calls that trigger an almost violent protective response in the mother. Bears moan when stressed. They clack their teeth. They make a sound called a jaw pop, a sharp crack produced by a sudden movement of the jaw that functions as a warning signal and is one of the sounds you absolutely do not want to hear if you are in the field. It means the bear has reached its limit. The black bear, North America's most common and most misunderstood bear, deserves a moment of serious reconsideration. They are, in most contexts, profoundly non-confrontational, more likely to flee than almost any other large predator. But this reputation has bred a dangerous complacency. Predatory attacks by black bears, not defensive attacks, not surprise encounters, but deliberate, stalking, sustained attacks by bears that have decided to hunt a human, are rare but documentable, and they follow a distinct and recognizable pattern. A predatory black bear does not bluff charge. It does not make noise. It follows. It is quiet and persistent. If a black bear is following you through the woods without appearing afraid of you, without being deterred by your voice, without retreating when you stand your ground, that is not curiosity. That is assessment. The response in that scenario is not to play dead, as many people mistakenly believe, but to fight back with everything you have. Playing dead works against a defensive grizzly. Against a predatory black bear, it is an invitation. The spectacled bear of South America, the only bear species native to the continent, is so different from its northern relatives that it barely seems to belong to the same family. Named for the distinctive cream-colored markings around its eyes that give the appearance of spectacles, it is primarily a herbivore, spending most of its life in the trees of the Andes. It is a powerful climber, sometimes building platforms of branches in tall trees to rest on or to reach fruit. It is shy, elusive, rarely seen by researchers despite years of effort. And it is increasingly endangered, pushed to the margins of its range by deforestation and the relentless encroachment of agriculture. An animal that has roamed the cloud forests of South America for millions of years is now in danger of disappearing within a human generation. The giant panda, technically a bear despite decades of taxonomic debate, is the great paradox of the family. A carnivore that eats almost exclusively bamboo, a food source so nutritionally poor that pandas must consume up to 40 pounds of it per day simply to survive. Their digestive systems are still fundamentally carnivorous, short, simple, designed for meat, and yet they have committed wholesale to a vegetarian lifestyle, possibly because bamboo in their native range is so abundant and so free of predator competition that the trade-off made evolutionary sense. They are not slow because they are lazy. They are slow because they are conserving energy, every movement carefully rationed against a dietary income that barely covers the bills. Watch a panda in the wild, and you are watching an animal performing a kind of metabolic tightrope act in every waking hour. And then, at the absolute other end of the spectrum, there is the polar bear again, a creature so adapted to its environment that it has essentially become a different kind of animal wearing a bear's body. Its fur is not white. Under a microscope, each individual hair is a hollow, transparent tube which functions as a fiber optic channel directing ultraviolet light toward the skin, which is black. The black skin absorbs this light and converts it to heat. The fur itself provides insulation so effective that polar bears can overheat while walking at a moderate pace. Their paws are partially webbed for swimming. They have been recorded swimming continuously for 9 days, over 400 miles, in open water, without stopping, without sleeping in the way we understand sleep. The fat stores that sustain them are layered in proportions that would constitute morbid obesity in any other context, but in the Arctic represent the razor-thin margin between survival and death. And the Arctic is changing. The sea ice that polar bears depend on for hunting is shrinking, season by season, in ways that are measurable and accelerating. Polar bears are swimming farther between ice floes. They are spending more time on land, where food is scarce. They are interbreeding with grizzly bears, producing fertile hybrid offspring called pizzly bears or grolar bears, in a geographic overlap that is itself evidence of ecosystem disruption. What this means for the long-term survival of the species is a question scientists are watching with quiet dread. The world's bears, 8 species spread across 5 continents, shaped by millions of years of isolation and adaptation into forms so different they seem to belong to separate imaginings, are all, in their way, mirrors. They reflect something about the environments that shape them. The polar bear reflects the unforgiving mathematics of the Arctic. The sun bear reflects the vertical density of the tropical canopy. The grizzly reflects the vast, productive wildness of North American mountains. The spectacled bear reflects the misty, layered complexity of Andean cloud forest. And what they reflect about us, in the way they remember, in the way they solve problems, in the way they stand upright and look directly back, is something harder to name. A recognition, maybe. A reminder that intelligence and awareness and a fierce attachment to survival are not uniquely human properties. That the world, before we arrive to categorize it, was already full of minds. The next time you're in bear country, or even the next time you see one from the safety of a car or a distance, resist the urge to reach for the cartoon. Look at what's actually there. The weight of it, the self-contained power of it, the depth behind the eyes. Something ancient is watching you back, and it knows exactly who you are.